All right, guys, let me start by sending my condolences to those involved with FedEx and the incident that occurred today in Indianapolis. Our heartfelt wishes and prayers to those families, obviously the FedEx family, and all those that are suffering because of this incident. So I wanted to start by that. Secondly, let me start by it's great to see your smiling faces, even underneath those masks. Live and in person is wonderful. This makes me happy because I feel like there's a little bit of sense of normalcy. So it's great seeing you guys, even y'all on Zoom. Brian, I'm shocked you didn't get on a flight to fly down here, but glad you're feeling better as well. But again, I mean that wholeheartedly. You guys cover our program and do a nice job doing it. And again, it's about the student athletes, and so I appreciate what you guys do for them. I wholeheartedly mean that. So great to see you guys here in person. And then thirdly, man, what a great turnout. What a beautiful evening. I mean, it makes you proud to see the Liberty Bowl. With so many of our fans, thousands and thousands of fans out there. It looked great. The weather turned out perfectly. They were loud. Our players were proud and excited to see them. It gave you a sense of, man, we're getting back to where we want. But we miss that, and we miss seeing them. And so, for lack of a better term, what an awesome night. It truly was. I like the way our guys went out there and competed, offense, defense, minimal special teams tonight. But it was just great to see. I think our guys battle, like I've told you guys a long time. I like the culture of this group. We got 102 young men out there today, which is the most we've ever had for a spring game. We were banged up at some positions, as you guys know, and a lot of those guys were off on the sidelines. But look, I'm proud of this group. 15 practices, something we didn't have the opportunity to do last year. Still a lot of competition, right, that's going to carry over into the months of May, June, July, and August before we kick off. So a lot of work to be done. We're certainly not where we want to be, but truly proud of the efforts of the young men this spring. I was glad they were able to put on a display for the city tonight, and so it was a great evening, and really just a tremendous effort, with the vaccinations to having a great turnout tonight. But it was a great city for the 901 and the University of Memphis football program. Open up to any questions.
Ryan, I guess really, even though you guys had fans last year, even though some of these guys have been in the role, just the guys said it was more electric. What did it feel just kind of like going out there? Did it feel like a different atmosphere than just a regular game?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we played a ton of 11 a.m. games last year, probably mostly my fault. But it was great to be back underneath the lights and, and have, what seemed to be more fans than we had during the season. And it did feel different. This is a different team. This 2021 ball club is completely different. I talked to you guys last year even. It was a different team that played in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, you look around and some of you guys were saying, well, who's that jersey? Who's that? And a lot of new faces. And so there was excitement. I think the young men, our student athletes, were excited to get back out on the field, Evan, and to be around our fans. So it just felt differently. You could sense the energy in the locker room. Any chance you get an opportunity to line up in a Liberty Bowl, especially when you go 14 straight practices, right, against each other at South Campus. We got great facilities there. Sometimes it's a change-up when you go in the indoor. But it just felt great and felt right to be out there tonight. And there certainly was a sense of excitement and urgency amongst our guys, and it was certainly a lot of fun.
Hey, Coach, you had a bunch of breakaway plays on offense, a bunch of takeaway plays on defense. What do you take away from the totality of the scrimmage?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be really nervous if one side dominated and we looked up and then I'd be answering those questions. What the heck's going on with the offense? What the heck's going on with the defense? Nice thing is at least I minimize the special teams, right? We still got to improve our kicking game, which we well know of. But it was good to see, right? You never want to see a bunch of turnovers on offense, but I was proud to see some of those guys on defense step up and get some turnovers, right? Some new faces. I mean, I don't know, I believe Greg Rubin with the interception, and who got the other one? It was, and Julian, right? I saw him on the big screen. Yeah, Julian. And then didn't Rodney have one too? Yeah, so exactly. So, you love seeing that takeaway belt out there, which is great. That's, our defense can hang their hat on that. But then, I was proud of seeing some explosive plays on offense. That's what you want to see. I was proud of the way the running backs ran. I thought they ran hard. I thought the offensive line came off the ball in the run game and did some nice things. But it was a good back and forth, right? Sometimes we had, and you guys will ask about the quarterback, but we had a rotation, of guys playing the different quarterback position, different. So one was with the ones one time and then mixture of guys. Everybody on our roster that was healthy and dressed out got reps tonight, which was great to see. It's something you always want to see. And, again, it was – like I said, this is competition, and very, very few spots on our roster you can sit there and stamp and say that kid's a starter, right? One of them was just sitting here in the seat before me. But other than that, I mean, that's the beauty of this thing. And we've talked about this as being roster management. It still will be. I can just promise you guys that. Look, there's probably going to be news that's coming out next week. It's just the reality of what we're in. But I've got to do a good job. I can't get too high, can't get too low, and continue to grow with the young men we have here. And like I said, I'm really proud, but it was good to see the back and forth competition for sure.
Ryan, here's from the QB spot. Obviously, you're rotating 4 guys every night. I'm curious, do you have in mind, I guess, how quickly you think you need to narrow it down once you start practicing again in August?
Yeah.
Or is it something where you'd be comfortable going up until?
Once September 1st gets there, I'll, not my
Whether
son.
you announce it or not,
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
like, you know what I mean?
You guys know me, just to put y'all a little anxiety in y'all's deal, I'll hold it off till Sue goes out there for coin toss, right?
Do you think, though, you have to narrow it down quickly when you get to August camp? Or
No, I don't think so, because the beauty of it, you remember last year we only had 9 practices in training camp. And so I look at this as let's maximize every opportunity. This year we'll get our normal practice times, how many we can. And we got to take advantage of that. And those reps are great for everybody because everybody's new to this system, right? Even though Keelan Brown was a part of it, right? He's got to get those reps, right? Grant, Seth, Peter, it's all continue to be the more live bullets they can get, the better. And that's the reality. Look, if a guy steps up and it's August 20th and we feel like we got our guy, sure, because it makes sense. Hey, they need to get the reps with the timing with the wide receivers, the tight ends, the backs, all those things, protections. But reality, I can't give you that exact answer. Do I want to have that answer August 1st? No, because that means something crazy happened, in the offseason. We're going to continue to work with them in June and July and do as much film as we're allowed to by the NCAA rules. But the reality of it is I can see it going pretty far into training camp.
How would you grade kind of like, I guess if you want to grade, but just kind of what did you like about them, again, being in this position for the first time, being really, but what did you like about what they did, and maybe what would need to be worked on?
Yeah, let me start with what they need to be worked on. The turnovers, we can't have those, right? Look, just 3 interceptions, it's not good enough. We can't have any turnovers. The ball can never be on the ground, whether it's a quarterback or a running back or anybody touches it, a snap. That's inexcusable, and we won't win games with turnovers, okay? But what I liked is for all those guys, it was really the first time under the lights, under the Liberty Bowl, and nothing seemed too big for them. They all seemed confident. I think they all had a firm understanding of the offense, which is huge to me. It wasn't out there like we went out there and someone's like, they look lost. I don't think anybody can sit there and say, oh, this guy looks like it's too bright for him. So that was what I was proud of. I think that, look, we got 4 guys that are all capable. I truly believe that, and that was a great thing to see. Hey, the back and forth, nothing was too big for them. We got to clean up things. I think they're all continue to gain better understanding of this offense and be able to play faster, right? And once you better understanding, play faster, be able to communicate better, all those things come hand in hand. But I thought it was a nice effort by them, at least being out there and the stage not being too big, even though you'll say it's just a spring game. But, man, that's the next big thing for us. This was our biggest thing that we've been since the bowl game, especially this opportunity for all those guys. So.
Ryan, running back you kind of mentioned with Brandon Thomas. This is our kind of first interception. Just how impressed were you by how he just ran hard tonight?
He runs hard. And, he's got sneaky speed, but he is built like a rock. He looks like I did at that age. Just kidding. But he runs hard, and that's what's pleasing to see. And you want to see a young running back that's going to hit the hole. We've seen it. We all know. We see an 18-year-old that starts, that ain't going to be it. Ain't going to happen. Move on to the next guy. But he's willing to hit it and hit it hard. We got to continue to work on his vision, ball security, right? They said he was down, but, man, ball can't ever – and that's one of those things he's got to continue to improve upon. He was a guy that, I did mention that I think he's a good young running back. But I think all the running backs ran hard tonight. I mean, you can't tell me that Drake Clark, he hit it and get it. And, Markevius Weaver, Cam Fleming coming back off that devastating injury. It's just great to see him out there. Gabe Rogers, who had an excellent spring, we were excited about him. He was sidelined with an injury, nothing long-term, so he'll be fine. But he was on the sideline. I know some of you guys were wondering where he was. He was actually on our sideline in a jersey, so I don't know if y'all saw him with that. So excited about that group. And, same question that I'm about to get. Look, I don't want to play 7 running backs versus Navy like we did last year. I'd like to get it down, but the good news is they're capable. You guys can't look out there and say, man, Ryan, you don't have guys. I think we got legit guys, and that's the cool thing about this whole deal.
Nice to have the alums, they have the former players. I mean, it felt like the fans, the former players, the women's coach, it felt like.
Wasn't that great? Yeah, I mean, if you think about the not only the current NFL players that we had, I mean, that's a roster of a who's who of current NFL players. It's great that they wanted to come back, be a part of this, see their brothers, just see what was going on. Allow them to stop by the facility. We've been fortunate to have former players come and talk to our guys. Obviously, Coach Merriweather, we had her speak to the team. Everybody's excited about her. the legend Isaac Bruce. I mean, it just felt right. Like I said, that's the right term. It felt right. It felt great. It was exciting. I was on cloud nine the minute we got on those buses to come over here, because it was like, all right, we're back to ball, back to what we want it to look like. And man, it's an honor to have those people back. Coach Rip Shearer came and talked to the team. Not many coaches would have a former head coach that was there for 6 years. And like Rip said, he goes, well, they fired me, Ryan, on my way out. And I said, look, man, and I know Rip from the days when he was with the Panthers and I was with Minnesota, but I got a lot of respect for him. All those people that built this before, look, we need to honor those people and respect them. Those guys that are currently playing, those guys where they play one, they all built into this program, right? It led us to be where we are. For Calvin Austin, a walk-on, to see what Anthony Miller did as a walk-on, and now a draft pick, and then playing in the NFL, right? Isaac Bruce, a Hall of Famer, to be able to talk to the team in the locker room beforehand. Chris Claybrook's a guy that really played spotty as a senior, right? Wasn't a full-time starter here. Now in the NFL, right? All those guys. It's no different for Rip Shearer to be here. For all these other people, the other day, just came by, and it was just great for him to be around. And I think that's awesome. And I've got so much respect for former Tigers and whatever their role was, because they poured into the Liberty Bowl, they poured into this program, and allowed us to be the type of program we are here today.
Ryan, obviously you're enjoying every day that you have as a coach, but with everything last year, the enjoyment's a little harder to get to past everything else you have to get to first. Do you feel like you're just genuinely enjoying what you're doing right now? I mean, the way you're talking about all these former players, the way you're talking about the spring game right now.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, it's been a while since y'all see me with a smile on my face. It's like I tell our guys all the time, I said, I just want to get back to coaching, because it's been a lot of other stuff, and that's part of my job. And I think we've seen throughout college football, the head coach's job is it's evolutionizing, right? For lack of a better term, I don't know if that's a damn term, right? But it continues to change, because what we have to do with roster management, different things with the portal, constantly making sure our own guys are good. That's all just part of this, what we're dealing with. And to be able to just get out there in between the white lines, not have to worry about anything, and just watch the guys play ball, man, that was fun. And it's a lot of excitement, because what we went through, that was a lot of adversity. I mean, you think about it, I made a mention on the radio the other day that, yeah, everyone said, man, you went from the Cotton Bowl as your first game to straight into the pandemic and social injustice, all those things that you and the team and everybody's dealing with. And to me, that was a lot of adversity, but I had to grow from it. I'm going to have to continue to grow and learn as a head coach in our program. And as I learn, I have to make a positive impact on our players. And that will never end, right? As long as I'm the head coach here, that will never end, what I got to do to be able to pour into our guys, because of all those things we learn. But sometimes it's nice not to have as much adversity going on, let me be honest with you, and be able to catch our breath, be able to go play football. And that's kind of felt like we were able to do a little bit this spring.
Kind of going off of that, with having 15 practices just this spring, not having it last year, how much easier does that make the summer months going into August and what you're able to do and move forward?
Yeah, to be honest, I count it as a blessing every day, Cassie, that I get to walk in and just see the guys. Here are my sons, here are the guys I get to see. So that's in itself is wonderful. But then to be able to get the practice in, at least you have an understanding what you have. We rolled into these, whatever they were, OTAs last year, right, with social distancing practices. The first time they were able to work out, there's 10 on a field at a time, and then another 10 200 yards away. It was just totally bizarre. So you never really knew what you had. We have a better understanding. We're going to spend these next few weeks as a staff continue to discuss our personnel, because that's what this is. We're discussing our personnel, our student athletes, what we have, what we're capable of. Hey, what kind of offense are we, right? What are we going to be on defense? Where can we continue to change things on special teams so we can execute at a high level? But I feel much more comfortable, not as much angst for, going into this whole deal, and excited knowing that, hey, they can really focus on what they need to do in the weight room, strength and conditioning this summer, in their summer months and their summer school, and then get ready and hopefully for a normal training camp and be able to get after it. So, absolutely.
And this isn't a leading to trying to get a quarterback answer, but just Keelan looked like he had a different level of confidence, different level of understanding. For you, is there a balance there of expecting, like, hey, he's been here a year, he should have that, versus, where he is in evaluating him against everybody else? You're
exactly right, Clayton. I think that's part of it. I think having, Keelan is one of the few that actually, and there was a limited number, he actually took snaps as a Memphis football player in a Memphis football jersey that was allowed to last year. And I think that does make a difference, right? He had a full, season, in essence, almost, of learning this offense, getting the reps, live reps, Peter was on our roster last year, but because he was ineligible, got a lot of the scout team reps and those things. So you can say, well, he still had the opportunity to learn the offense. Well, it's a completely different deal when you're on a different field. So Keelan, who's been a part of it, yes, you could see the confidence. You're exactly right. I mean, I think it was pretty evident by everybody. And how do I compare that? Look, I'm taking them all. They all have a blank slate, and we're just seeing where they are, shaking up the dice and see where they are. And so I don't sit there and say, well, he should. I mean, they're all at the same level, and I certainly won't compare them to Brady White. Someone asked me that the other day. Well, how do they compare to Brady White? You can't right now. That's not fair, and that's shame on me if I do that. But like I said, they all bring different attributes. They all have different things that they're good at, and then things that they need to continue to work out, like every quarterback. But like I said, we got 4 capable ones, and it's fun to watch that battle continue.
Anybody else? Hey, Coach, do you have more angst going into this season with not a quarterback going in versus last year, which was your first year not knowing what to do? Which one is more?
Every year there's going to be angst and stress and the unknowns, right? That's part of this profession, and part of dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds. There's always the unknowns. What are you getting day in and day out, right? I mean, we've seen like that. The roster can change, and that's the nature of this whole thing. But I've got confidence in the way we do things as a program. I've got a wonderful coaching staff and support staff, and I trust the process that we're going through. So, again, kind of I mentioned not too high, not too low. It's just, hey, whatever happens is we're going to control what we can control and continue to pour into our guys, and I think we'll like that result. And so there's always that uncomfortable feeling because until that ball gets going, look, I'm as nervous about Nicholls State as I will be whatever game we play, and that's because that's the next one for us. But, I hate to say this, and my players probably don't want to hear this. I'm ready for August 1st to get here. Let's go and get training camp going, maybe catch our breath and get going. Be back to a little bit of normal recruiting maybe this summer as well, but it'll be good that way.
All right, Coach. I think we'll take a few questions from Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got Brian. Hey, Coach, touching on recruiting, this summer you'll have, camps. How important is having those camps where you get to see the recruits on hand?
Yeah, Brian, you're exactly right. I mean, to be able to have those camps, as you guys know, by NCAA rules, we're allowed 10 camps. And so we can divvy up that however we want, right? We could do 5 on our campus, and then it sounds like the NCAA is going to allow us to be able to go other places. And so maybe that's 5 days other places, and to be able to spread a wide net and see as many kids as we can, right? And we can even do that. We could even have 5 on our campus, and at the same point, there may be a day, hey, I need to send Mike McIntyre down to Texas to go watch a kid that's at another camp that couldn't make it to ours that day because that counts as one of them. So it's going to be a great time to evaluate. We work our tails off in recruiting to try to make sure we're seeing the right guys. And I think being able to see guys in person is going to be huge. At the same point, we're also doing a lot of official visits in June. So it's you got to be where do you bounce, right? Do you go try to, if you got prospects coming in, then you may not be able to get to as many camps as you want. So, and then, we're going to continue to work with, our city and our university about our camp regulations, what we're doing on our campus. But I think the camps are going to be very important. I'm excited to be able to watch prospects work out and move around.
And last one for me, going forward, do you still envision using Zoom and other type of technology that you had to use last year going further?
Yeah, Brian, I think that we've all learned things from this pandemic. I know there was a question that was asked to me about 4 months ago, what will I take from the ability to use electronics, Zoom, FaceTime. I think it's going to still be important. I think one of those things is being able, our recruiting staff does an excellent job of getting guys on, FaceTime calls where we're on that. I think Zooming is now allowing us, instead of passing around a cell phone and a meeting, we can Zoom and show a presentation with our whole staff in there. So I think we're going to take advantage of that. You have to. As you guys well know, if you get behind in what you're doing recruiting, you got no chance. And so you always have to be cutting edge. We got people that are a lot more creative than me on our staff that kind of help guide us with what we want this to look like. So we're going to constantly be saying, okay, what can we do, continue to improve recruiting? I'm an old school guy. I'd still love to go see a guy work out in pads and see what they're capable of. But if Zoom's the way we got to go, we're going to continue to use that to our advantage.